Good morning, guys. Tommy here. Here to talk to you about what the SEC is doing with crypto. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of different perspectives, that kind of high-level perspectives on this subject that I haven't seen too many people talk about, kind of seeing through the lines. And we're going to take a look at how some prominent community members have responded to what the SEC is doing as well, too. So let's jump right into it here. The first thing, you guys are well aware, probably more than likely, that the SEC is attacking both Coinbase, Binance, and has named a number of cryptos as securities. But one thing I want to say, just actually prefacing this is really important to remember, you guys. Peer-to-peer technology. It's important to remember that crypto is much bigger than the U.S. The SEC is, of course, a U.S. organization. Here's a website I found that kind of breaks down ownership across different countries. And the U.S. actually doesn't even have the greatest ownership of crypto. It is one of the top, but India is winning the race there. But the big picture I want to relay here is crypto is bigger than the U.S. And that is something that I don't think the SEC is really taking into account here. And as a number of people have validly said, the problem here is the SEC can be pushing innovation out of the U.S. and control over crypto out of the U.S. Because remember, again, it's peer-to-peer technology. So this picture shows it well to you guys. If you guys don't know, this is the major innovation that enables cryptocurrency. For those of you guys who are, around my age, in your mid-30s, I'm sure you guys probably used torrents way back in the day when you were teenagers, but the power of torrents. This is the power of peer-to-peer technology. Before peer-to-peer technology, you have to have one server distributing the data to all the users. And the problem with that is you shut down that server and it's done. But when you have a peer-to-peer network, there's all these different nodes, right? And you can have nodes in every country of the world, which essentially makes the network impossible to shut down. This is the cornerstone innovation that enables cryptocurrency. And this is something I don't think the SEC is thinking that far ahead about. The point here is they cannot control. They can't stop it. So while the SEC can be heavy-handed while other countries aren't, what they're really doing is pushing innovation to other countries where the U.S. has no jurisdiction. What about China? What about Russia, where there's totally opposing groups and politically don't agree. This is actually a dangerous thing that the U.S. is doing, or that the SEC is doing for the U.S. And I hope that they get some sense about them and understand that they want to work with the technology and not try to attack it like they are. And I'm going to look into that a little bit more. I like to assume the best, but there are some things, like the way Brian Armstrong from Coinbase is talking, that really makes you feel like they're not trying to be that cooperative. And I hope that changes, because cooperation is the name of the game. SEC is purposely trying to protect investors. And if they are, there's better ways to do that, which we'll look at in a minute. But one thing I want to say, you guys, is just humility. Humility of understanding. This is something I believe in. Like, technology can be more powerful than any human in the world. And I think that's something that sometimes people forget, to be humble. This technology is more powerful than any government in the world. And that's something I think some people forget sometimes. Maybe some of these regulators might forget. You cannot stop this technology. So better than trying to be aggressive and attack it, try to find a way to work with it. And that's the sort of stuff that I've been involved in, the sort of technology that I've been building with our team. But again, you guys, once more, I'm going to repeat it. Decentralized technology means a network that's virtually impossible to take down. So if a network has if they actually had 6 peers like this and they were all in the US, that's a network that could be taken down. But if a network has peers in dozens of countries around the world, then it's very difficult to take down. So I will add on that too. It undermines countries or governments when this is something I know that China is a bit careful about. You don't want to be too heavy-handed, because if people just figure you're being too heavy-handed and they work around you, it undermines your authority. And so that's another thing I would hope that the U.S. government and SEC are careful of, not to let their authority be undermined by trying to overreach. So, let's continue on here. I'm going to look at some of these tweets. I found some really interesting ones. Going to share with you guys. So Ryan Selkis posted this. This is what protection looks like. This was June 10th. This was pretty much the day after SEC came out and named a bunch of coins as securities. And yeah, kind of a bummer, obviously, for the crypto market. And we've seen the effects of this, right? I mean, this is Ethereum, and this has kind of been across the board, really. Most cryptos have got hammered. Before the SEC came and did their stuff, we were around 1,900 for Ethereum. We're currently 1,640. Bitcoin paints a similar picture. Here was over about 28,000 at the peak just a few days, or last month, right before this. Before the SEC action was around 27K, and then the SEC has actions essentially like put this negative pressure to bring it down to 25K. So the pain is felt all around crypto. It is more felt in altcoins than others, but that's what the cause and effect of SEC actions. So let's look at some of these tweets. Some of these are really interesting. This is Sasal. I hope you said your name right. He posts some good tweets here. He's saying here, I don't think Gary Gensler really gives a shit about crypto either way. So what are his goals? To get promoted to the Treasury Department? You guys can pause the video if you want to read these whole tweets. But there are some interesting bits here. So why is Gensler going after crypto specifically? Because crypto is very hated by the general public due to all the high profile fraud and scams. That's true. And still, he says in closing, he very clearly doesn't give a shit about protecting investors. If he did, he'd be playing a different game. I agree with that because I'm actually someone who stands very strongly for protecting, crypto users. And our team's done a better job of that than, a vast majority of teams and projects out there, a better job than any other blockchain, which I'm very proud of. But yeah, they're not I don't know how much they really care. I know they kind of pose that way, but it doesn't 100% feel that way. Let's go on here. Another very interesting tweet here by Ryan again. He says the SEC basically said, just come in and register as a security with the SEC, says the agency, which has failed to approve the Bitcoin ETF for a full decade. This is something that, I watched over the past decade too, you guys, and it's incredible that they have delayed this for a decade, and that's a super valid point. Let's go on here. What's going on now with the Biden administration is they're basically trying to kill off the technology. So here we have a major VC firm, and they're announcing into UK. So basically what the SEC is doing is pushing our US companies and VC funds out of the US. That's not good for the US. It's not, you guys, here's the problem. Again, when you have peer-to-peer technology, if you push people out of the US, you're going to have no control of that. Like I imagined, someone from our team maybe eventually going and explaining to Congress and everyone. But the idea is you want a network that you can work with, that you can work within the bounds. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that in a second. But you need a network that you have some semblance of control over, that you can stop things like money laundering or this and that. But to push the technology out of the US means you're going to have no control of it. And this is where they're not thinking far enough ahead. They're not thinking, second order effects and those sorts of things. So they need to start thinking a little farther ahead. Otherwise, they're going to find that they're powerless, as the technology and innovation moves completely out of reach. Let's go on. There's more that shows that here. U.S. crypto policy in one chart. Since January 1st, 2023, USDT supply is up, USDC supply is down. So USDC is a stable coin that the U.S. Would have more kind of control or influence over. But you see the way the SEC is acting is basically pushing the stable coins away from the U.S. So again, it's being counterproductive, and I hope they start thinking about that. Regulators and whatnot start thinking about that, because the last thing you want is to have no control of the technology. in a place where we could instead foster it and grow it. Let's look here. The UK Prime Minister, I guess he kind of sees the weakness in the US and aims to position the UK as a global hub for Web3 technology. A16Z, that was the one I posted below, expands to UK. I mean, again, this is sad, right? The USA, supposed to be the land of the free with liberty and justice for all. What's going on? But I think the reality is it's a battle for control, and because some people in the U.S. government feel like they can't control it, their response is to attack it. But this is the wrong response again, because once again the technology is not going away. So all you're going to do when you attack it is you're going to push that power out of reach. Sooner or later, I hope they try to work with the technology, because that's the solution. This is a good little tidbit. I'm going to play this for you guys so you guys can hear this.
I get very concerned about the government trying to usurp digital currencies, because they not only have an interest in being the monopoly player in currency, but also because these central bank digital currencies can become a method of tracking, of finding out what you're doing, where you're spending your money.
Absolutely.
That makes me very nervous, and I see what Gensler doing as a strong step down that road.
Yeah, he's finally started to say the silent part out loud. That is exactly where I think this is headed. They prefer the central bank digital currency. He's basically saying there's no need for other digital currencies that we're talking about, that they're coming in, they're calling securities just so they can come and charge Coinbase in arrears. You think about the hypocrisy here. Just over 2 years ago, the SEC approved Coinbase's IPO. Coinbase explained their business model, they explained their staking program. The SEC approved all of that. Now they're turning around and saying this is illegal activity. Again, I think there's an ulterior motive here, and I think you just articulated it.
So that was a great little video, and he makes a great point, the senator here, that what's going on is they're trying to push the central bank digital currency, or make way for it. But what they don't understand is, again, these other cryptos are not going away. I got some other pictures of peer-to-peer. This is my favorite one I found from the search, but you guys get what they're saying. And this kind of heavy-handed approach is not going to work when this is a global thing. And again, it's just pushing the innovation and actual control of networks outside the US. You guys, anyone can access, like the worst thing they can do is say US IP addresses can access say a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, for instance. Well, what people could do then is use a VPN, and there's nothing that could stop anyone. And again, countries that are too heavy-handed actually undermines their authority, because when people find out they could just circumvent the government, it undermines the authority of the government. So the U.S. government needs to kind of come to terms and realize that they cannot stop this. They need to work with it. So here's another one here. Weak regulations spread fear, and strong regulators spread opportunity. The Howey test was nearly 80 years ago and has no relevance to crypto. I think crypto needs to be regulated in a new way from a new group. I like that. I think our regulators are acting way out of line. It's time to rein them in. Gensler is damaging our country. Extremely well said by Tim Draper. Awesome on that, Tim. You nailed it. That's exactly correct. And then here's a post by Zero, which I liked. So you could see this is the SEC. The SEC index of coins, and yeah, look, they've pretty much hammered those coins. And there's actually something really interesting I'm going to show you on the charts, which I wonder about the timing of all this. But and this tweet was very interesting to me. This is how aggressive the SEC is trying to be. They're proposing rulemaking to redefine the term exchange, and they're basically trying to say that right here, for the first time, without any warning, has indicated that the underlying ledgers or networks for those individuals or entities running computers that process communications must register. I mean, this is impossible to enforce anyway. Again, they're not getting this, and they need to come to terms. I know they don't like it, but this is not how you do it. You have to work with it. And then finally, this was kind of a funny tweet, like kind of basically showing the SEC going back and forth. If you guys want to read it, just pause the video and you guys can see it. But basically what it is, the SEC is going back and forth with Coinbase, and Coinbase is like trying to work with them, and they're just kind of behaving like I don't know the word, like someone sketchy, just like not wanting to give an answer, and that's too bad. That needs to change. So to bring this conversation back to investor protection, because that's something that I take really seriously, you guys. I felt the pain of people scammed in crypto, and I stood up for it, and I'm really proud of what our team's built. And I want to say too, you guys, I'm going to do more videos kind of circling around energy. Some of you guys have been following me for a long time. Energy was basically like a mandate from the universe for me to make it. That it was one of the strongest energies I felt in my life. No pun intended. But I didn't know why I needed to build energy, but I knew I had to. And now I know we've built the technology. Now I'm getting it out there. But energy actually does protect investors. And the way you do that is you have decentralized governance. Energy is a peer-to-peer network. In energy, the nodes can vote on the network, can vote on proposals, can vote on governance. And this is how you create a self-governing ecosystem. So if there's a criminal on the network, you can disable them and you can protect the other investors. This is where the technology needs to evolve, and energy is leading the way in the whole world on this technology. And I realized the documentation was kind of not strong enough on this. So if you guys go to wiki.energy.world, you can see this. Let me show you where to go. You go to governance guides. This is the blacklist proposals and proposals for budget as well. But this explains how it works and the actions to take. But basically, if there's a bad actor on the network can vote and basically disable that bad actor. And also, if they stole funds, can return it. This is a system that we've built that's proven over the past years, and it works. I have not seen any other blockchain even close to us on that. But energy is a bit under the radar right now. But it's a good problem to have. I think a lot of what I've seen in the crypto space is people hype stuff up, but there's no substance behind it. We've seen that plenty. I've invested in, as many of you guys know, like 50 ICOs. Most of them built no products, didn't do anything, just false promises. At Energy, we did the opposite. We actually built the technology that the world needs, that if the SEC is truly serious about protecting investors, the way you protect investors is you have a governed blockchain that protects its users. That's how you do it. So I'm glad they're apparently thinking on the lines of investor protection, but this is how you do it. Keep in mind that, again, if there's scammers and stuff outside the US, and this is my own experience dealing with them. I had, one of the ICOs I invested in, you guys, I hate to say how much I put in, but they were in China. And was there anything I can do about it? Absolutely not. So, but if that happened on the energy network, yes, there is something that could have been done about it. So that's the point. So again, and the last thing I want to just bring attention to is, obviously crypto's been hit kind of hard, and I wonder about the timing. I have a subscription to this actually. Thanks, TradingView. I'm not logged in right now, but the timing of the SEC's actions are a little suspect because the stock market right now is having this kind of melt up. Like this is the peak in 2021. Crypto was pretty high around here too. Then the whole market came down as the Fed rate hiked. And then the market's kind of just been on this tear right now, which is crazy given the current environment of what's going on with obviously the economy's in pain and whatnot, but the market's going up. But with this kind of melt up going on, I would normally imagine that crypto would go along with the NASDAQ. But given the SEC's actions, I think it might have been timed for this time frame to kind of prevent crypto from having a pump, which is, I don't know if that was part of the intention, but it is definitely pretty crappy timing for us crypto investors. But if there's one thing I know, it's over time, you can't stop it. The harder you push down on crypto, the harder it bounces back. So again, it's a worldwide thing. It's not just in the US. And I hope that the US starts working with the technology, perhaps starts working with blockchains like Energy, where we can actually protect investors, where we can actually, catch scammers, money laundering, those sorts of things. Networks like ours could actually stop that sort of thing and create a safe environment for users where you can bring your brother, your sister, your friend into crypto and not have to worry about them getting their MetaMask drained, their wallet drained, falling to a social engineering attack, falling to a phishing attack, all these attacks. This is not part of crypto, you guys. And I should maybe find some tweets about that. But it upsets me when people say it's part of crypto for you to get scammed. It's not. It should not be part of it. It does not need to be part of it. And I disagree with that. I think that there should be, there obviously can be. We built it, and should be a safe environment for you to participate in this groundbreaking technology without having to look over your shoulder every second or worry about some scam that you never heard of before. Like there are out there, I assure you, there's scams that you guys have not even thought of that you're vulnerable to, and have your guard up, because that's the whole point. They try to catch you when you're off guard. So anyway, I'll wrap the video up here. Just want to get this video out for you guys. Join our community here at Energy. If you guys haven't yet, go to our website, energy.world. We've got all our information here. Links at the bottom to join our community. Give the video a like if you haven't. Be sure to give a comment. These things, you get help it be found on YouTube. And let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys on the next one.